I'll be the first one to admit it that I've an absolute issue with stoves. That issue being that I have way too many of them. On this channel alone, I have so many stove reviews, mainly alcohol stoves. There's just something so satisfying for me to have a well-designed product and putting it to the test. I don't know why I love it so much, but I do. Every now and again you come across a product that's an absolute masterclass in engineering, and that's how I felt when I got my hands on the Goshawk Era one for the first time. Putting that to the test and looking at the well thought out R&D that went into that product just blew me away. There's engineering in my blood, and I just love a well thought out design. It's just beautifully crafted. Today I am so excited because I got my hands on the new and improved version of the Goshawk Era 1, the Goshawk Era 2. And what better way to show the new and improved version than put it up against the older version in a good old stove battle. Let's get after it. Let's take a quick look at the Goshawk Era 2 just to see what's new on it compared to its predecessor. So first of all, you'll see the colour. It's a space silver, and that's all down to, they say, it's a new advanced hard anodized aluminium which helps transfer heat. So if anyone has ever seen these stoves in action before, they create an incredible vortex flame that comes up, and that's all down to the design that they have. They have 20 storage blocks on the inside of these stoves which vaporizes the actual flame out through jet holes on the top. So the one thing you will notice straight away, size wise and all, it's the very same, but on the inside of the Era 2 there's a grooved pattern, and that grooved pattern, they say, helps in the blooming phase to help the stove heat up faster. On both of them you have the AZ-0 windproof that literally fits on over it and clips into place. You also have the pull out pot stands, which are very, very handy. I'm really looking forward to getting some fuel into this and starting it up just to see how it fares up against the older version. I just want to see if the actual vortex flame pattern is any way different. So the one thing I did miss when having this stove is the fact that I can't store fuel in this. And in a way, you still can't, but let me explain. So every time I was using this, I would kind of calculate how much fuel I would need to actually burn up whatever I'm burning up, but I didn't overflow it because I didn't want to leave it burn out. Or you could put something over it to quench it and try store the stuff in it, but if it falls over, it's going everywhere, so that's an issue. It's still kind of an issue, but again, let me explain. What they've done is, this is the Goshawk Era 2. This is the AZ-0 windproof, and they've made an AZ-1 pot stand and simmer plate. Let me show you. You take your windproof off, then you get your frame, and you just place it down over it. And you'll see here the groove. It just goes through the pip of the groove. These notches right there, the simmer plate actually fits onto them as well. So put it down and then move it into place. You can get your cap and you can place it on top to put the flame out. So you can see there the legs that stick out on the bottom all the way around. Very, very sturdy, especially if you're putting big pots or big pans on top of it. So yeah, that's really good. If you wanted to store fuel inside in that, what you could do is you could place this on top to quench the flame. So if you kept that as center as possible, what you could do is push the jaws down. It actually holds it in place. I wouldn't be tipping it over, but at least you have a good seal and a rubber seal over that overnight to stop it evaporating, and at least you'll be able to leave some fuel in it. So I'm really looking forward to trying that. So the first test, 30 milliliters of fuel in each of the burners, and let's see which one lasts longer. I decided to take the windproof off just so you can see the flame a lot better. Okay, let's light them and let's start the timer. You can see the start of the vortex flame. It seems to be starting to bloom a lot faster on the Era 2 on the left hand side. So it looks like that the Goshawk Era 2 bloomed first. This is the Era 2. I'm hearing a lot of backfiring on the flame. I'm not sure if there's a breaking in period for this stove, but I can hear a lot of backfiring from it. This will give you a better idea of the flame pattern. You can see the angle of the jet holes on the Era 1 are actually different to the angle on the Era 2. So the last bit of flame is just gone out on the Era 2 at 9 minutes and 23 seconds. And that's the last flame gone out on the Era 1 at 10 minutes and 57 seconds. Those results actually surprise me because they boast on the website that the Era 2 is a lot more fuel efficient, but the Era 1 lasted longer. I was hearing some issues, I won't call them issues, some misfires of the flame. There wasn't a consistent flame pattern with the Era 2 that there was on the Era 1. And honestly, I can't remember if the Era 1 had that same issue where there's a breaking in period with the stove. I'm really not sure. But you could see by the video that this was like, I suppose misfiring is the only way that I can describe it. But it did surprise me because this lasted longer. Maybe when it breaks in better, it might be better, because obviously they've tested it, so I don't know why it wasn't the same for me. But maybe it's more fuel efficient of how hot the flame is, and the jet pattern and the vortex that the Era 2 creates is hotter than the Era 1, so that might be the fuel efficiency. But I was surprised there. Okay, let's go to the next test. So the next test, 30 milliliters of fuel into each of the stoves. I'm going to do 250 milliliters of water in each pot, and each pot has the same circumference at the bottom. Okay, let's light them up, put the pots on, and let's start the timer. And that's a rolling boil at 3 minutes for the Era 2, and that's a rolling boil at 3 minutes and 50 seconds for the Era 1. So as I was saying earlier, is the fuel efficiency of the Era 2 down to a hotter flame pattern? And by the results of how fast it boiled nearly a minute faster than that. So they're saying 2 cups of water in 3 minutes with the Era 2, and it's exactly what it did. It was exactly 3 minutes, which was crazy. And this was 3 minutes and 50 seconds. So in terms of fuel efficiency, I'll keep monitoring this to see that if this has a breaking in period, will the fuel be more consistent? Is it the fact that this burns a hotter flame makes it more fuel efficient? Maybe it's more fuel efficient because you can somewhat store actual fuel inside it. But this was 50 seconds better than the Era 1, so it does have a stronger jet vortex that comes out of this. Like they say that it's 2 cups of water in 3 minutes, and this did 250 milliliters of water in 3 minutes on the button. This was 3 minutes and 50 seconds. I really like the actual simmer plate and the other new features of the stand and being able to somewhat store fuel inside in the Era 2. I'm really looking forward to getting this out tomorrow night. I'm actually going for a wild camp, and I noticed I have this well-used fire maple pot, and it actually fits perfectly into the grooves. So there is your windproofing right there. There's nothing getting through that. So there you have it. There's no point in asking you which one you'd buy, because I don't think you can get the Era 1 anymore, but would you buy this? This is €56, but if you like engineering and if you like quick boil with an alcohol stove, so you're talking €56 and €12 for the add-ons, so it's a gorgeous stove. Anyway, yet again with another stove video. So thanks very much for watching, and stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.